Good Thursday morning. Welcome to Astrology for Mystics. I'm your host, astrologer Jennifer Jennings. And wow, so I'm going to try to make this a quick live. There's a lot of things, like I said, the last live, there was so much going on. It was mind blowing and a lot of federal things coming about. Of course, the 8.8 quake in Russia, when I pulled that up, I got the weird feeling that we could be looking at a new type of warfare, weather warfare, where we are looking at directed energy. And I'm not saying that it wasn't natural. It just appears to me that it could be something else. Today, there is a hunt for unalivers that unalive 4 people in West Tennessee. Dropped a baby off miles from there where the 4 were unalived, and they dropped the baby off. So I'm looking at that, that being in Tennessee, that could definitely be the reason why we were seeing a lot of action, a lot of transformation with the TBI today. So I want to show you the transits and go over them as quickly as I can, show you the map that I've started creating for this event that took place in Tennessee and where these people could be found, possibly. So I'm going to share my screen. We're going to look at that today at 12:09 p.m., which for us in Tennessee, you would have to look at your time zone, but at 11:09, that is when NASA is going to launch a crew of 4 to the ISS. So I want to also talk about that with the transits, because I think it matters what's going on. It really does. This is a intense period that we're in, not just us personally, all of us. I do see that there is a lot still taking place with France. There's a lot still coming for France. There's a lot of things happening, y'all. Let me go back. I want to take a look at just the transits right now and show you what I'm seeing. So we just had the dark moon. There's just been a shakeup in Tennessee. The state of Tennessee, their dark moon is a 1742. And as you can obviously understand, there has been a shakeup with groups, with the disordered aggression, with the state of Tennessee, and it spawned an investigation with a group. That's what Palace does. We can see it every time. The lunar nodes at a 2017 in Pisces and in the South Node of Fate in Virgo, it is coming down to a 2016. That is the TBI. The TBI is being transformed, if you remember, today with trans Pluto all day. This trans Pluto, this 359 in Virgo, trans Pluto is a higher octave of Pluto. It's a higher octave, very intense day for the TBI. At the same time, the Hygeia of Summer Wells is in transit with Sedna at a 144. So there is a lot of transformation, a lot of communications that's being let go with the Summer Wells case today. And we just never know how these energies are going to work themselves out. We knew that the TBI was going to be in transit today. We knew that there were things going on in the United States that were federal. Chiron, let's look at this. I want to start showing you the aspects here. Chiron is currently at a station. Chiron has been at this station since yesterday. Now it's at a hard station because it's a red S. It means it's a hard station, very intense. It's in the 8th house of death, currently in Nashville, Tennessee. And it's conjunct Eris, so there's a lot of warring, a lot of pain, with a lot of violating energy, okay? And so Chiron is, we're going to look at the aspect. Morning, Leanne. Morning, Deanna. Yes, ma'am, you did. Got that wrench, girl. So Chiron is opposing the moon. The moon is in Libra. Chiron is in a fate with Mars. And so when we think about what's transpired with those unaliving and the baby being dropped off at the, what was it? Just a random, random place that the baby was dropped off at, supposedly. But there's a fate. Quincunx means a fate. So there's a fate taking place with Mars. Mars is the vehicle. Mars is the action. Mars is the pride, the competitiveness. So we will see a lot of fate with competition. And it's square Pluto. It's square Pluto. It's opposing Zeus, square Selena. So the things that we are learning is challenging us. But Mars and Chiron having this aspect of fate. This is big. This is big. And this is only going to get more intense because, as you can see, Astrea is at an 852. She's in Sag. She's a quick movement with justice, the courts, the missiles, the flight to the ISS. This 852 is going to come to an 855. It's going to be in an opposition with the United States of America. And it's also going to be fated with France. So I'm keeping an eye on that. Let me show you the map that I created for that. The crazy shit that's going down in Tennessee. I began a map and I started it here. I'm not sure exactly what what yard this baby was dropped off, but the baby was dropped off at 3 p.m. So in order to try to figure out where these people could be going, where they could be found, I'm looking at the event, just the missing right now. And I've drawn in 2 angles. And I want to show you those angles. Hold on. I'm going to flip-flop for just a second. Hold on. I'm going to show you these angles where baby left in yard. So what I noticed right off, really quickly, is that Chiron had started to station. It's a black S, so it just started its stationing. And we look at the aspects with Chiron, and still we see the same. There is a fate with Mars. This fate with Mars is right here. And I want to talk about that because this is interesting. We can see that this angle, this geometric angle with Chiron and Mars, is going into Mississippi, to the Gulf. It's going through Kentucky into St. Louis and Indiana, all the way up to Michigan. But what I want to show you is this. What I saw immediately, and it makes me wonder. It really makes me wonder. This is where we are analyzing the behavior of what took place, right? I want to look at Kentucky because I noticed right off the get. Chiron stationing at a 2709, Kentucky rises at a 2709. So for the last 2 days, well, since the 29th, Chiron has been at this degree. Chiron is going to be retrograding this afternoon, but nevertheless, we have a 2709. The other thing that I noticed is the third house of communications right here with Pallas in Aquarius at 1757. I know that 1757 because it goes to, you guessed it, Kentucky. It goes to Kentucky. It's a flame of life in Virgo in the sixth house of health. So we have reason to believe that that angle, or I have reason to believe that that angle could be a good one. We'll just have to wait and see, right? The transformation with the TBI had not come into fruition just yet. The fate had not come to the TBI just yet. All right, so now we look at Mississippi. Because today, Mississippi is in transit with the TBI. This 1616 with Kronos in Cancer. Kronos is about timing. It's a devouring energy, right? Because Kronos devours his kids in the myth. Except for Zeus. Zeus lives. But all the other ones are devoured. So it's a devouring energy. It's in Cancer. We're looking at a home, 1616. May not have anything to do with that, but it does strike me as a good angle. So that's the reason why I drew that one in. So let's look at the transits right now with Mississippi. Because the lunar nodes of fate for Mississippi are where we are devouring this energy. Mississippi transits. Mississippi is to the left. The transits are on the right. And you see the fate. The North Node in Taurus, South Node in Scorpio. That is where the fate is. All day. There is a devouring energy with Mississippi today, with the TBI. Sure enough. Let me show you the TBI. I mean, we can look at we can look at other stuff as well, other degrees. But let's just move around. They're definitely going to have information that's coming in about health. And it's like, okay, what's going to happen today? What is happening? Is it going to be related to these people that were found unalived in Tennessee? Is it going to be related? We just don't know. So let's look at the TBI, because they are certainly in transit today. Like we talked about in my last live, the TBI, the state of Tennessee with the TBI they are being transformed. This 359 is in the fifth house of kids and creativity, how they create. And this 359 in Virgo with that fifth house is opposing their 11th house, their groups, their peers, how they bring in money. This 359 is in transit all day today, all day, all night. It will be in transit. And this third house of communications with Cancer and Capricorn, this 1311, that is exactly where there's a flame of life coming into that degree. And it will be in that degree around noon. It's coming. It's already in orb. It's happening right now. So the TBI is heavily in transit. And when I say that the lunar nodes are coming down in degree to that 2016, it's where they have a relationship. They're communicating with a relationship, a conscious raising experience of a relationship. We can see that they have intensity at a 2609. That 2609, The 2603 that Mars is at right now in Virgo, yeah, it's not in the same sign, don't matter. It's still going to express itself with a lot of energy, a lot of intensity here with the TBI. The other thing that I'm noticing is that this 1717 is going to be in transit. Juno in Scorpio is in transit for a couple of hours. This 1717 is my Venus. I connect with Vladimir, the president of Russia, with this 1717. Homeland Security with the 1717. And y'all, if that, there are things going on with money, with assets, with the United States and Russia, the tariffs. This is in the second house of values. So Vladimir and the United States are also in transit today. It's an intense time to be lifting a crew member of 4 up to the ISS, and it wouldn't seem like a big deal. I mean, they're just going, it's not like they're going to the moon or anything. They're just going to the ISS. But this is a lot of energy, whereas Mars is fated with Chiron. So this afternoon, Chiron, well, it's not even, so Chiron is now in retrograde. So it just went from a station to retrograde. But it is still fated with Mars. Mars is the vehicle. Mars is the health, the action, the car, the body. So I think that this is very interesting, to say the least. And this opposition that's coming with the United States and France, there's going to be a shakeup with groups. Could be a shakeup with our sun, because the solar activity is what I'm talking about. Could be a shakeup with that solar activity, because it is also connected with that degree of 855. It's a pattern for me. So I'm going to show you this right now, when this is going to be taking place. And it's going to take place August 1st in the morning by 11 a.m. By 11 a.m., there is an opposition with groups. I can see that the TBI is going to be in transit. Let's look at them again. The fate has already left them. Are y'all following me? Or did I lose you already? Well, let's see. TBI. Right here. This is when the opposition comes in. And there's a flame of life. There's a flame of life that's now in the past. The 2642 with Mars is now making contact with this flame of life. And that 2642 does go to Sebastian as well. I mean, there could be a lead that comes in with Sebastian in the morning. And I say that because Mercury at an 8:30 in Leo, it is definitely coming into the degree in which he has in his chart that signifies a lead. The dark moon is at a 1412. The dark moon is coming in to the TBI. The 1412 is going to come to this 1414, and the TBI is going to receive information, and it's going to have a lot of darkness with it. A lot of disordered aggression about their values, about money, other people's money. There is a darkness here, though. Definitely a darkness. So it's interesting to me that there is so much going on, so much is going on in the world during this period that we're in. So it's not just us personally, right? It's everybody is experiencing all of these challenges with Chiron and Mars. Because Chiron and Mars are not only fated, but there's a square with Pluto. So very interesting indeed that there's so much happening. In the state of Tennessee, let's see. Yeah, summer is definitely in transit too. Summer is still in transit on the 1st. This 448 is reminding me of Vladimir. Let me look at this. 448. The 448 with France. Is it France or is it the ISS? It's the ISS. Okay. So let's look at that. Vladimir, the ISS. So this flame of life, this 448, God's will is being done. Could be about, like I said, it could be about the tariffs, but I don't know, because if there was a directed energy taken with that quake, I don't know that I don't know that there wouldn't be any retaliation with that. But he has crew on the ISS, so I don't think that would happen. There's definitely things going on with Summer's case, though. It's very evident to me here, and I'm not going to go bouncing back and forth with her chart and her parents and all that, but I can see it. It is big. It is big. It is big. So, when it comes to Summer and her map, I did a whole video that talks about Don Sherfy Jr. and where I think that people could search for Summer. And so I won't regurgitate the same-o. You can watch that video. It's the last one that I uploaded. I'm working on one for Martha Leanne Green that went missing out of Dixon, Tennessee, almost 40 years ago. I will be doing a video about her. I'll be doing a video about Sebastian and Jack and Lily. But there is, instead of doing a live, that's what I'm planning on doing, is just doing a video. Because if anybody wants to search, then I can give them places to search, right? So this is what I'm seeing with the United States. Let's look at that with the USA. Let's look at that with them, because there is a opposition here. It will have to do with France. It will have to do possibly with the solar activity as well. Excuse me. And then I do want to remind everybody that the whole month of October, something's going down with Edward Snowden. The whole month of October. So what's going to happen is Chiron, all the degrees that has passed over in the last few months, it's going to come back and pass over those degrees again. Again. So this 855, you see that the 855, this is Uranus in the United States, 6th house of health. It's about communications, electrical, groups, we the people, and it's a shakeup, sudden changes. sudden changes with health, sudden changes for the day to day in the United States. And this 855 is going to be opposed. Astria is sitting here at an 855 in the 12th house, things of the past with courts, with the pew pew, with missiles and things of that nature, and the trade. And that is going to be opposing the United States. Again, she's already done it once. No, she's already done it twice. Now she's coming back. And she's not taking any numbers this time. She is just moving quickly right over this opposition. So there's something to be said here. And I could pull up Trump's chart. We could talk about that. But why? We know that Ghislaine Maxwell, she's been in transit. She's been carrying the fate. And I know without a shadow of a doubt that that earthquake that took place in Russia has Tesla all over it. It has the Tunguska event all over it. And it didn't, when you look at Vladimir's chart with that earthquake, it appears to be a warring energy. It sure does. And we had a lot of opposition that day with the United States, a lot of challenges for the United States during that period of time. So I don't know. I'm a little sketched out about it. That's the first time that I've looked at an earthquake where I think, oh, this is not good. This does not look good. And I'm not a know-it-all. I don't know everything, but I'm just saying that's what I'm gathering. That's my opinion. The moon is now tomorrow. The moon will be in Scorpio. So it will leave, the moon will leave Libra, about the government, the justice, the law, and is going to come in here to the second house in Scorpio. Other people's money, death, we're reflecting on that beginning tomorrow. It has Tesla all over it. So the Tunguska event, that earthquake in Russia has Tesla all over it. His birth chart is coming in strongly during that earthquake. And so is the Tunguska event. So people have written over the years about the Tunguska event being related to a meteor, and that's possible. But the Tunguska event is definitely showing Russia and Tesla with the charts. Tesla's chart, his degrees. Let me see if I save the earthquake, Russia. I'll show you what I'm talking about. Russia blast. No. So the Russia earthquake, when was that? July 29th, 624. Oh, dang, that's a lot of miles from that one. Hold on. Well, I mean, it was in the sea. It was a quake in the sea. Let's see. So 6:24 p.m. Yeah, I do as well. So Elon, okay, so yeah, that's a good thinking there. I don't know if it was 6:29, 6:24, what time in Russia? I don't know that it was that time in Russia, if that was UTC time. Local time, 11:30 a.m. Okay. See, damn it. So was it 11:30 a.m.? It says local time. So let me make sure. Today, about 11:30 a.m. magnitude off the coast of the peninsula. Okay. Let me make sure. Look at USGS. Oh, it won't even have it on there now. So that should be a universal time then. Okay. I'm just going to keep going with it then. Okay, so the Russia quake, 11:30 a.m. local time. And so I want to just talk about this chart real quick and what I see with Donald Trump. Okay, so there's a lot that's happening with Donald Trump. This is a time that I spoke about on my live because my last live, I was looking at this. This is wild. This is really wild to see. So let me just bounce around and show you what I'm talking about. So the 1614, the 1448 in Cancer, this is Kronos at a 1614, Hades at a 1448. It is these two that are in conversation side by side. This devouring energy, this weight that is over Donald Trump and his connection with Virginia, his connection with the United States Saturn. This was also the same day that I was watching Eric Craddock. There was an opposition to the Pluto of the United States. This 2734, it had already left the 2732. Pluto in the United States of the values of the United States. There is an opposition taking place with Selena. This 2428 goes to Larry Fink with BlackRock, Saudi Arabia. So I was looking at this as a federal chart. Here in the third house of communications, this is where I saw the TBI showing up with justice, with communications. And it is here in the fourth house of home at a 230 with Pluto. This 230 goes to Elon. It goes to Donald Trump and their connection to Nikola Tesla. Tesla has this in his chart, Elon and Trump. And the lunar nodes at a 2025 are coming down in degree. So they're coming down in a degree to the 2021 that Nikola Tesla has in his chart. The 2021, the North Node in Pisces, as it comes down, there is a fate with the Neptune, okay? The Neptune of Tesla. The Neptune in Pisces. Whereas the lunar node is just going to sit there. It's the same degree that I have in my chart with a relationship, and it's the same degree that Ghislaine Maxwell has in her chart as well. It's her lunar nodes of fate. And we see that there is a relationship here with that 1614 once again. This 1614 in the seventh house of relationships is Ceres. Ceres is my pattern. She is my glyph for a lot of energy, of a directed energy. This is also with Virginia. This is a Virginia, the seventh house of relationships with Virginia and with Trump. They both have that 1614. And so does Sebastian Rogers. He has that 1614 in his chart with Vulcan. God's will was being done. When he went missing, that 1614 was in transit as well. And also the state of Tennessee and Summer Wells have this 2428. It's where the state of Tennessee receives leads, information. So it was this day, the 28th and the 29th, where I was seeing there was so much taking place on a federal level. And I just don't put anything past these people. I really don't. I don't put anything past them. And what this is showing us is this 230 is coming in the future. So the death, rebirth, the regeneration, this intensity with groups is coming in the future. So once it leaves that 230 and comes into that 229, it's really more intense with that information that is coming in with Donald Trump, the things that are going on with Elon Musk and Nikola Tesla. Of course, I'm sure that there's all kinds of things going on with Tesla, with Elon in his chart, even though Tesla is deceased. It's like the man is continuously being talked about via Elon. And Nikola doesn't get any royalties or anything. Tesla has, Elon has basically, which is a good thing for Tesla. It's still a good thing, but at the same time, it's pretty sad. It's pretty shitty. Let me show you Elon. Oh, I've already got him pulled up. Never mind. I just don't have Tesla pulled up, but I'm going to show you. So Elon, where are you at? With the Russia quake. So Elon, during this time period, Elon is, and I want you to notice too, he has that 448, just like the ISS, just like Vladimir. It's where he has an emotional explosion at home. But there's the 230. This is where he lets go with this public image. The 230, there is a letting go. There is Pluto is making contact with it, and there is a letting go with the public image and money, values, things that he holds in possession. And what would he hold in possession that has to do with Tesla, There's a letting go with Sedna here at a 143, and that's where there's a conscious raising experience with a relationship that's public with Elon. And the moon at a 2719 has just crossed over his Pluto in the third house of communications. And like I said, Larry Fink, Saudi Arabia, I can see Tennessee there. There's other people that have that. But the 2731 with Venus in Gemini, she is coming to that 2732, that the Pluto. So first we have an opposition, things that we are learning, things that we are teaching that is opposing the values of the government. And then we are talking about it. Right after that, then we begin to talk about it. And all the while, Trump is having an opposition. Let's look at Trump during this period. Donald Trump, Russia quake. So Donald Trump, this 1448 that he has in his chart is with the relationship, and it's with the government, it's with the courts, it's with the justice system, and it's contracts as well. That is where the weight, because he connects to the United States of America out of 1448. with their Saturn in the 10th house of Libra. So Donald Trump and the United States have a weight. The physician Apollo for Donald Trump is a 1614, and that's where there's a devouring energy that's taking place all day. It's where there's a lot of energy coming during this quake. The physician brings enlightenment. Brings enlightenment. So Elon, he rises at a 2916 in Gemini. Donald Trump has a 2918 in Gemini that leads into this 11th house of how he brings in money, his friend group. We can see that Hygeia at a 2120 is opposing Donald Trump, his moon in the 4th house of Sagittarius. We can also see that Jupiter at 1104 in Cancer is opposing Donald Trump's 5th house of kids, the way that he creates here, the things that he creates with the government, with this quick movement of energy. That's what, I mean, it was just didn't make any sense to me. Then we have Vladimir, who is the Russia chart isn't as, I would rather look at Vladimir than Russia, because he is Russia. He is Russia, just like Elon is SpaceX. But it was very clear that there is a relationship from his past, the 1706, 1702, that is where this relationship is coming to, is to him, to his country. It's already been a wake-up call with the lunar nodes of fate for him that is coming in the future. It already came. His position at a 2119 in Virgo, that's where Hygeia had just come over, made contact, even though Hygeia is in Gemini here. The dark moon at a 1348 is coming to this 1355 where he shines. And that is exactly the same degree that Netanyahu has as well. So later on that day, when the dark moon comes to this 1355, there is a disordered aggression with he and the president of Israel. Hygeia at a 2120 is coming to this 2123. A lot of darkness, a lot of disordered aggression. Let's look at Tesla. It won't be long and the NASA's going to send that crew up. Oh. Is this the same one? Hold on, let me look. Let me make sure that this is the 10th. Because I have a couple of them. Shit. The 10th, 12 a.m. Okay, making sure. 10th, 12 a.m. Okay. We look at the quake with Russia and Tesla, and it may not have anything to do with it. It may just be the Tesla cars. The 230 that I was talking about that connects Nikola, Trump, and Elon, that 230 that's in transit here in the 4th house of home in Aquarius, that 230 is right here. But the 230, he also has a 228. So this 230 is Vesta. It's the flame of life that reignites. It's a reigniting of an energy. And it's in Gemini. So there is communications here. And then Pluto comes down to the 228. The 228, where we are learning, we are teaching something. Tesla is, that it, Tesla is. He's teaching something. There's things that are taking place. So it comes for the 230 and then down to the 228. I think it's 226 right now. So we've already went over that 228 as well with Tesla. So there's a reigniting. There is a learning. And it was transformative, very transformative. Hades at a 1448 has come up to the 1450. His Venus is in the 3rd house. The things that they confiscated at his home, his possessions. We can see that the day before this quake, Hades was over his 2nd house of values, the things that he owns, the communications, the writings. There was a weight. There was a weight on him. Then the weight of Hades came to his Venus. You see. And then what happened is that this 2401 Zeus, the magnetism of Libra, the magnetism of contracts, of the government, of the justice, this 2401 comes into the 2402. Quickly after this quake, it's a 24-hour transit, but then Zeus comes to that 2402. Like right now, Zeus is at the 2402. Still. And we are talking about the magnetism. And look, the moon is now critical right now. The moon is critical where we are reflecting on the government, on the contracts. We're reflecting there. So this wisdom in the 5th house of kids how he creates, because we know he didn't have kids. The wisdom that he had that brought a lot of publicity to him is in transit. It's been in transit since yesterday, and it's remaining in transit today. We know that the lunar nodes during the quake were coming down to the Neptune out of 2021. But now the lunar nodes are coming down to his lunar nodes, which is a 2003. Even though his south node is in Libra, north node is in Aries, it doesn't matter. This is going to be the 2003. Let's see where we're at right now, 2017. So yeah, that's why I'm saying Tesla has been in transit, beginning with that quake. And we know that he was working on all kinds of stuff. The death ray. You know, they blamed the Tunguska event on a meteor. Who knows? Who knows? But I am going to be watching the liftoff with the ISS. They're taking four people. NASA is. Well, I'm so glad that you could join. Slacker. Slacker. So I'm watching NASA. There's 8,000 people right now that's watching, but in about 45 minutes or less than 45 minutes, that's when this crew, they're already in there. It looks like 42 minutes. They're already in there, ready to go. So in 42 minutes, that's when they are supposed to lift off to the ISS, where, you know, other people are, but still at the same time. So we look at, you know, the transits. We know that during this transit, Vladimir is in transit. And I don't think that he would do anything just because he does have people up there. I don't think that he would retaliate if he thought that that was what it is. I know France during this liftoff has a lot of darkness surrounding it. France does with this liftoff. I'm going to show you that. Okay, so solar activity is low. The solar wind is kind of picking up, though. There are 9 sunspots scattered across the solar disk. 5% of X flares in the next 24 hours. Space hurricanes are real. Let's see. So we do have 27 fireballs around. So that's they're picking up. The fireballs are picking up. So that's we're in a dense period here. We're in a dense. I mean, somewhat dense, not a whole lot, but. So the space weather doesn't look bad, but I can see that today during this liftoff, Vladimir is in transit, and so is France. So when the NASA crew takes off at a 1934, the midheaven is a 1934. The IC is in 1934. So we've got the MC in Cancer, IC in Capricorn at a 1934, and their dark moon in the 9th house of long travels, quick movements, is a 1934. We also see that the outer wheel of France is a 1729 in Libra in the 12th house, and the 6th house of health, 1729. There's a wake-up call, boom, bam, visiting with groups at this liftoff time. It's just, you know, making me pause here and wondering, what's up? What's happening? Because even though Astria hasn't got to that 855, it's definitely already in transit. It's already in orb opposing the United States. That 855 that's going to oppose the United States. Their series with France, a lot of directed energy here. So I'm just keeping my eye out, hoping and praying that there is not going to be anything crazy that's going to come about with this liftoff. And it's just going to be about something else, the tariffs, or the different political petty stuff that they got going on back and forth. And it's not going to be anything big. The 540 with the physician Apollo in Scorpio, the physician that brings enlightenment about other people's money, about things that are hidden. With the physician, that 540 is also where there's a quick movement of energy with quartz, with missiles, with things of that nature, that 540, and the communications and the 8th house of death here with the 540, with communications, the electrical, or as we could say, a directed energy. We know that the lunar nodes out of 2017 are coming down to the media. The media with Mercury out of 2012, the South Node is going to sit here. So we know that there is a lot that's going to come out about France. And Ghislaine, she is from France. She's from there. So it wouldn't surprise me at all to hear different things coming out. But here we go. Let's look at this Vladimir and the NASA crew. Because during this period of time, Vladimir, there's a lot of directed energy. There is a lot of energy that is going to these communications in the 8th house of death at a 1717. And that's where he is getting a wake up, a shake up with a relationship. There's a conscious raising experience and it's shaking him up. Very intense, lots of energy here. So during this time period, that 1717 is making contact with him and me at the same time. All the while, Tesla is definitely in transit and magnetized. There's a magnetism here with that wisdom that he has. So interesting, very interesting indeed. Saturn is at a 138. Let's look at this. Saturn is at a 138. Making sure, hold on. Saturn's going to hit him before it hits the United States. Let's see. 138. 127. $134. So Saturn will be coming. They're going to receive leads that are not going to amount to anything. Or I won't say amount to anything, but they'll have limits and obstacles with information that's going to be coming into them. And there is a lot of warning. There's a lot of warning here in Mississippi today. There's a lot of fate, a lot of warring, a lot that's happening in Mississippi today. So we'll have to keep an eye on Mississippi and Kentucky today. Because they're holding this fate, but then there's a lot of warring. It could be about immigration. It could be about, all kinds of things. But interesting. Very interesting indeed. When that fate came over Ghislaine, myself, and Tesla with the North Node in Pisces, it was also hitting the relationships of Mississippi. Relationships of Mississippi. Interesting. I say that they have warring because this 2543 is connecting and has been connecting to the fourth house of home with Mississippi. And like I said, it could be about immigration. It could be about ICE, the courts. And then the South Node at a 2017 is going to come and sit on their ascendant at a 2012. And the North Node is going to sit here. Like I said, I'm definitely going to be interested to see anything that's coming out of Mississippi and or Kentucky today and tomorrow. So that's all I've got for today. I just wanted to jump on real quick and talk about that. I'm going to watch the liftoff, work on some maps, and I appreciate you guys hanging out with me. I appreciate it. Really appreciate you coming in, April. Fruit Fly, Deanna, MMO, Leanne, thank y'all. Thank y'all for coming in and hanging out. I appreciate it. Jeff, Deanna, and anybody else that would be in the bushes, thanks y'all. I appreciate it. But yeah, if y'all want to, jump on. There's in 40 minutes, this is when this is going to lift off, and we can just hope for the best, right? Well, it looks like people are talking about Summer's case, don't it? New alliance can't and never did. Okay, so they're talking about the Wells, Summer's case. Interesting. Yeah, y'all watch it. Oh, I also wanted to show y'all too the Devil's Den. Let me show y'all that real quick before I do jump off. The Devil's Den. Let me show y'all that real quick. Your maps. Devil's Den. So it's here where they captured dude. It's right there in Springdale. And this is Arkansas's Pluto that is in conversation, that is conjunct their Cupid in the 8th house of death. So their desires, the intensity, the leadership is going to where he was found. And there it is. There it is. I didn't even look at the missing event. No, I did. I did look at the missing event. The series, all the energy, all the action in the series of Arkansas. I mean, the series of the missing event is also going here. So there was a lot of action going here. Mars is about the vehicle, the body, the movement, the initiating energy, and it's going this direction. So this Aries energy is going to Springdale. And there it is. Arkansas's Pluto conjunct Cupid. So let's just go ahead and draw a hot spot because that's where he was found. Boom, bam. And he does look like a monster. Definitely looks like a monster. So now we look at Ryan thinks that he's convinced even more that Summer is in Morrison Cemetery. Interesting. Let's look at that real quick on Summer's map. And I'm going to show you where that is on the map, what that's pulling on summers. Because the state agencies should be the one to bring in. Let's just go ahead and turn the missing everybody off. And let's just look at Tennessee. Let me turn off the FBI. Okay. So Ryan finds truth. He's talking about, he's just convinced that Morrison Cemetery is where Summer can be found. And Morrison Cemetery, Tennessee's fifth house of kids. That is transformative. Fifth house of kids, main interest for Summer Wells. Well, and he's joked about my lines. The dude has literally joked about my lines. But look, the lines are telling a story. Going over Morrison Cemetery, the outer will, 1421 was in transiting the first house during the 911 call. State of Tennessee, the past was Scorpio. And the sixth house of health, the everyday, in Taurus. So these are Taurus lines. These are Taurus lines. This is where the state of Tennessee receives information. And look at that. Sherfy lets go of a burden. There's a breakup here. Don Sherfy Jr. But let me go ahead and turn on the addresses that he lets go of a burden. There's Light Cemetery. And again, we're looking at the fifth house of kids with, there's the fifth house of kids with Tennessee, but this is the outer will, the 12th house. Bust by the TBI on Bloomingdale. Donna Lawson and Billy Lawson, relation to the Hammonds. There's Big Elm Tunnel. Brandon Hamrick, past address. I'm just looking at these, okay? Dudley. Robert Hammonds. Veterans Memorial Highway, Dudley. Ernie Shell. Rhonda Depew, past owner at 138 Simpson. And there's another Hammonds. The Hammonds are prominent in Virginia. And it is here. Oh, let's. Hold on. Go. This is it. So this is where Don Sherfy. Oh, no. That's not where he lived. Where's Don Sherfy's? The Sherfy residence. No, that's not it. Do I have it? Let me go closer in. Turn on the TBI because then I can really find him. Conference held for summer. Here it is. Okay. I'm going to turn all these on. So if we go down to the ground level here at the Sherfy property, There's a same degree that Summer has with Tennessee, that 2428, where they receive leads in. And we can look and see that, this is the property. This is where he would have been living when he got out of jail just a month prior. He got out of jail. There's outbuildings. There's all kind of land back here. This is the Sherfy residence on Reservoir Road. And then if we go up and across, let me turn Grandma off. Hold on. There's a firing range over here and this other side. Turned on, off. Off. There we go. And these are the same lines that we were looking at that are going over Morrison Cemetery. Same lines. There's where Don's mom was buried. But yeah, the Morrison Cemetery, I can see why people would think that it's possible that she could be buried there. Definitely see why. Let's see what the TBI is looking like there over the cemetery. There's a lot of energy. There's a breakup with the past with a lot of energy. These lines also go to Robin's home, it looks like, and Mountain View Road. So these lines are going over this cemetery and, of course, the Mountain View Road and Robin's home. So I can't forget that. Can't forget that even though we're looking at Morrison Cemetery, we've got to consider where these lines are also going. This is where the TBI shares pain. And so in my video, I'm talking about this area. I'm talking about the TBI sharing pain and with the evidence that they find. So there is evidence that they could find and they would share pain about things of the past on this conjunction. So again, these lines are going on the other side of Reservoir Road into an area as well that I think that they could also look for Summer. And this is where the TBI shines, right here. They don't shine here, they shine here with groups. And there's a lot of warring with it. And there's a lot of emotions here with the way that they shine. And this is also where Sherfy is on the other side of there. The natal, let's just look at the natal here. The Jupiter in Virgo that is going south, this is fated with a lot of warring. She has a lot of warring that is going this way with a possible head wound. This is where her Uranus is at a 17 degree. And let's look at that because the Mercury is squaring. There's a square here. There's a major challenge with the authority. And I want to show you that I want to show you that right now. I want to show you that. Hold on. We ain't done. Hold on. I'm going to try to shut up in just a second. Hold on. But this is important for me to show you this because I was saying that Summer was in transit all day today, and she is. And I'm going to show you that. Hold on. Let me pull up the transits right now again. Oh, shoot. My son is calling me. Don't hear from him for days, and then he calls. Okay.
Hey.
Hey, babes.
What are you doing?
Gosh, I hadn't seen you in forever. Cutie, I'm on live. I'm about to get off, though.
Oh my God, of course you are.
I mean, I rarely get on, but when I do, you call.
No, you get on all the time. Every time I call.
What are you doing?
Just sitting here drinking coffee.
Yeah.
Want to see my new plant?
I do. I love it. Wow.
It's fucking big.
Yeah, it is. I love it. I love all the greenery. So can I call you right back? I'm about to jump off.
Yeah.
Will you answer?
Yeah.
Okay, love you.
Love you too.
Bye.
Bye.
He's such a cutie. God, he's so cute. Okay, so summer, here's the transits, the 1729 and the 1714. Okay, this is what we're looking at. I'm showing you the lines here with the Uranus. The Uranus is unexpected in the fifth house of kids and creativity, and there's a flame of life. So this 17, this conjunction is what I'm showing you. That is exactly where Pallas is coming into. That is where there's a relationship. The relationship with Juno has already went over that and reignited, right? And she is coming. Pallas is coming to shake things up. There is a letting go with communications about the world health with the government and the law enforcement, the justice system. Now let me show you. That's it. There's Eris. No, actually it's here. Yeah. This is where Vesta and Uranus are conjunct, but they square Mercury. Mercury is going this way. So is there any Tennessee lines here? Yes. Any TBI? Yes. Okay, so the state of Tennessee, their Chiron, where they share pain with their values, we would be looking for a business because it's in Capricorn. And so we would be going this way. That square with the media, with her siblings possibly, that those siblings, there could be a challenge with Morrison Cemetery by what the siblings have said. Because Mercury in Capricorn for summer is in the third house of communications with her siblings. You understand what I'm saying? So that there is an angle here that we've got to think about. Her Pluto in Capricorn, that is conjunct her Venus, her natal Venus. The TBI, the third house outer wheel, we know that that is coming into fruition today. That 1311 is coming in to transit. Okay, so it's these angles that are challenging the cemetery. We look at the missing. The missing event is also here. Let's take Tennessee out. There's the missing Pluto in Capricorn. It's opposing the missing Mars that was in Leo in the ninth house, the Mars in Leo. And we know that the Mars in Leo is going over Jody Sue's home. It's going over Jody Sue's home. And that is where the TBI has their lowest point. Because the TBI and the state of Tennessee, they know things that we don't know. They know things. So that could be the challenge with the TBI in the state of Tennessee of digging up areas in the cemetery. It is the fifth house of kids. This is where the fifth house of kids is magnetized. There's Dawn. But Dawn's is going to Light Cemetery. The mom is going this way. Sharpie is going this way. So I don't know. I digress. But this is very important. There is a lot of energy with the state of Tennessee going here with kids. And it's in Taurus. Taurus is about the earth. It's earthy. But if I'm looking on a Taurus line, I would be more, let me look at the natal. If I was looking at a Taurus line, this is where she descends with relationships. Is going over the cemetery. It's where she has a lot of warring and a fate with Jupiter. Jupiter is the law. We're going down Simpson Road here. And again, it's this angle that gets you messed up, because that 19 degree that she has, the Mercury 1920, it's her brother's. And we would be looking at a business. The old nuclear plant. The old nuclear plant. So there is a challenge here with Ryan Finds Truth. With the old nuclear plant on Phipps Bend Road, and we're going into the terrain back here with summer. Let's see what else we got. The Lawsons. The Lawsons. Sheriff Ronnie Lawson. Sheriff Ronnie Lawson. That is the challenge. Boom, bam. Because we're looking for a business, or we're looking for someone of authority. It's Ronnie Lawson. Are you following me? You understand what I'm saying? Because this is Capricorn. The third house of communications, Ronnie Lawson, her siblings, the communications, that's the challenge. That's the challenge. There's the Hawkins Convenience Center. This is the dump. That's the dump in Surgeonsville, Tennessee. So we could think of the nuclear plant. We know that the nuclear plant is there. Let's go ahead and move that down. Not to be mistaken for up here. This is where if we were going to look for summer, we would have to look here. The state of Tennessee, it makes sense that they would have their Chiron here, because it's about their values, the money, the nuclear plant, the money, right? Right. That makes sense why they are pained, because of the money. They didn't have the money to do anything with this plant. And we could keep on going. Missionary Baptist Church. See if this takes us anywhere else. Owensboro, Kentucky. I don't know whose address that is, but I've got it. Jensen Investigates. It's also where the state of Tennessee is pained with Jensen Investigates, because he says, hey, the wells we got to consider other options. So I hope this makes sense, and why these angles really matter, and how we can, we just have to analyze the different behaviors and why things may not be, there's reasons why the law enforcement may not want to start up more in cemetery. So are y'all with me? You understand what I'm saying? Those angles matter. The different challenges that she has in her natal chart are, of course, going to be showing up as well with the information that we know. All right, so I'm going to jump off here and get ready to watch this launch with the 4 crew members, the crew 11, and just hope for the best. Hope for the best with these crazy ass energies that are around us today, you know? All right, guys, I hope you have a wonderful Thursday afternoon, and I'll talk to you very soon. Peace out. Thank you all for joining me. Really appreciate it.
Clean like your soul won't be forgotten. We stand strong for you, never give up. Seek justice and truth. Day and night we search. Community gathers, wipe the tears away. Rise up for you, Sebastian strong. Sebastian's army, we march on. Each day comes and goes, hope in our hearts. You're never alone, we'll bring you home. Wish it was a dream, babe. It lingers on, but strength we carry will keep you strong. Rise up for you, Sebastian strong. Sebastian's army, we march on. Each day comes and goes, hope in our hearts. You're never alone, we'll bring you home. Wish it was a dream, hey, it lingers on, but strength we carry will keep you strong. Rise